Good evening, everyone. My name is Augie F. This is my KTM RC390, also known as Rage, and we are currently at Pali Hill in Mumbai. Okay, so I've been called out by Buffmoto to share 10 things I hate about my KTM RC390. Now, in case you're watching this video to get bad points about the RC390, please don't go by what I say in this video, because this is mainly specific to my motorcycle and not the RC390 in general. If you want a review on the KTM RC390, here's a link to go and watch that video. That's my first impressions video after having the motorcycle for the first month or so. So here's the link to that video. Alright, getting back to today's video. Again, don't get butthurt about what I'm gonna say. It's specific to my motorcycle. Maybe yours is in a better condition or you had better luck than I did, but these are things which I dislike about my bike. Obviously there's more pros than cons to it, which is why I bought the motorcycle in the first place, but this is just a challenge and just a series of videos which motor vloggers around the world are making. So here's the 10 things I dislike about my KTM RC390. First thing, and I guess this might be common for many people, is the visor on the RC390. Oh, this guy's back. Wow, even she turned around for it. Yeah, so the visor on the RC390. The main reason I dislike how it's shaped is because it's hard to clean certain parts of the visor. For example, this portion over here, and it's already dusty. By the way, I haven't washed my bike today, so it's going to look a little dirty. Then there's this whole gap over here where there's really no space to kind of get in and clean, and even if you do wash it, there's going to be droplets of water left in there, so it's kind of irritating. And then there's this section over here as well, which kind of becomes hard to clean. So cleaning that part of the motorcycle becomes pretty tough, considering the different edges and small gaps you have between the visor and the fairing. So that's the first thing I dislike. Again, if you've not noticed, I'm going to be really nitpicky about the things I dislike. I love the bike, but I have to find 10 things, right? Thanks a lot, Buffmoto. Thanks a lot. Okay, the second thing I dislike about the motorcycle is the battery cover over here. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with it, the battery on the RC390 is located here, which in my mind is a good thing. It's easy to access in case there's something that goes wrong. But this panel over here, this cover, becomes a real pain to put back into place in case you decide to open that cover and have a look at the battery or attach some kind of gadget to it. It's easy to take out. It's just a matter of pulling one cable inside here underneath the seat, which then unhooks the cover and it just pops out then out of place. But putting it back is a technique which I think KTM should have sessions for, because it's that hard to do at times. The next thing which I dislike about the motorcycle is the storage space. And if you have a look at the seat itself, you know there's very little storage space available below the seat. Now, I'm not going to open it up. You can check for images on Google, or I'll probably click a picture and add it to this video. But there's very little space. There's just enough space for your toolkit and maybe some documents in there. And that's about it. Okay, the fourth point is the finishing on this tail section. So for those of you who can see, there's a small gap over here which kind of doesn't really move into place. There's that gap here. So I think that finishing, and even if you can notice here, this side, there's a little space over here. So I think the finishing on this motorcycle could have been a little better, at least at the tail section. Mind you, everything else seems to be put into place pretty well. There is that obvious rattling which you have to deal with, but it's pretty fine other than that. But yeah, that tail section is not really well put together. Still looks brilliant, but could have been better put together. Okay, so the fifth thing which could have been a little better about my RC390 is the number plate. Now again, very specific to my bike itself, but if you see this, it bends pretty easily, and I paid quite a lot for that number plate, but it kind of bends. So if there's people passing by when the bike is parked and they kind of brush up against it, then that I found the plate to be bent right up till here at times. Yeah, which is why you'll notice that it's probably bent like this over here. And owing to that, there's a lot of vibrations as well which you'd hear while riding the motorcycle because of the number plate. I initially thought it was the mirrors or something like that, but I later narrowed it down to the number plate, and that's what used to cause a lot of noise while riding. It's better now, but it was a problem earlier. Okay, the next thing I dislike about my KTM is this area where the fuel nozzle goes in when you're fueling up. It's made out of weak material, so it's prone to being bent, and that's based on feedback I've seen from a lot of KTM owners. And in addition to that, the fuel nozzle doesn't really fit right in. So there's a danger of your sensor being messed up if that area is bent, and then your fuel gauge goes for a toss. You're not able to understand how much fuel you've actually got in the motorcycle. I'm guessing if you're within warranty, that could be replaced, but if you're not, that might be an expensive affair. Okay, the next thing I dislike about the RC390 is the fact that the tail section can't accommodate a GoPro. Now I know there are workarounds to that, but the stock seat can't really accommodate a GoPro, and that's because it's made of this spongy seat material, which you can't really mount a suction mount on, and you really don't want to put a sticky mount on either. So those of you who've seen videos with the red Torpedo, my R15, you would have seen quite a few angles shot from the back of the motorcycle as well, and I have not been able to do that with the RC390 because of that seat. I'm thinking of different ways I can work around that, but none of them seem feasible on a long ride. That being said though, this whole entire fairing over here is pretty nice to put a suction mount on. And even for those of you who've seen my recent videos, the visor as well is a nice place to mount a suction mount. So in that aspect, the bike is good. So you can take multiple shots from the front, but not really from the back. That's what she said. Oh, hello there, doggies. I'm scared of the helmet, I guess. Yeah, the next thing I dislike about my KTM is the fact that this panel over here scrapes speed breakers. And that doesn't really happen when I'm sitting alone on the motorcycle. It usually takes place when there's a pillion sitting along with me. And the pillion doesn't really need to weigh that much. It's happened with my twin brother sitting on the back of the bike as well. So that's kind of disheartening every time you have to hear that scrape. So I now tend to approach speed breakers sideways so that it kind of doesn't scrape the belly pan. The preload is adjustable, so that's something you can change if you want to. I just really haven't got around to doing that because I prefer how the bike handles with the settings it's on right now, so I really don't see the need of making that change. But if you want to, you can do that as well. Okay, the next thing I dislike about the motorcycle is this area of the tank. Now again, I'm being very nitpicky about this, but this area being as smooth as it is, when you try to grip the tank at times, you easily slip forward because there's very little grip available on the tank. And I've ordered Storm grips for that area of the tank. Hopefully they'll be here soon, and that should kind of take care of the issue. But yeah, it becomes a bit of a pain when I'm riding the motorcycle, and if I brake, it kind of makes you lean towards the tank, and it's irritating to fix. My style of riding, at least. What's that last point? Yeah, come on. Oh yeah. Not bad at all. Okay, so the last thing I dislike about my KTM RC390 is this little guard over here. And I think it looks a little ugly, to be honest, and it kind of takes away from the aggressive nature of the bike. I don't think it really goes with the design of the motorcycle. The only reason I've kept it is because of how practical it is and the fact that it serves the purpose it's built for. So it is able to stop a lot of mud from getting onto the motorcycle, at least the rear seat, number plate section, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty practical. It gets the job done. So yeah, that's about it. That's the 10 things I hate about my KTM RC390. Please forgive me, rage. Please forgive me. Again, like you've heard, I've had to be really nitpicky about some stuff. The bike is brilliant, but I had to make this video. Am I recording still? Yeah. Okay, so continuing with the chain now, I'm gonna call out 2 motovloggers who I want to make a similar video on 10 things they hate about their motorcycle. So the first person I'm gonna call out is my good friend Gypsy Danger. Gypsy Danger, you're up, son. He also has a KTM RC390, but to call that a KTM RC390 is an understatement. That dude has got modifications beyond belief on his motorcycle. So with the fact that he knows so much about motorcycles and the fact that he's modded his bike so heavily, I'd like to see what he dislikes about his motorcycle. So you need to come up with 10 things, my boy. And the second motovlogger I'd like to call out and challenge is Zohair Ahmed. Zohair's from Hyderabad. He has a Kawasaki ER6N. Oh, this place is just full of mad exhausts, isn't it? I think that's a sign, Zohair. Yeah, so I'd like to call out Zohair Ahmed. He has a Kawasaki ER6N and again knows a lot about his motorcycle, so I'd like to hear 10 things which he dislikes about it. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today's video. If you like the video, do leave a thumbs up, it really helps. If you've got opinions to share, or if you've got your own points which you'd like to share about your motorcycle, please share that in the comment section. And ride safe. It's a freaking jungle out here. Goodbye.